exactly why you cut my video. Tell me why, YouTube. Don't be a coward. Tell me why you cut my video, sucker. Tell me why you cut my video, YouTube, because I'm not going to stop. You going to close my account? On what grounds? Talk about it. You always do this. Because all that other stuff you be sending me, I don't do. Okay? Sell this, do that, do that. I don't do. Advertise this, advertise that. I don't do. But then when I come on here and talk about what I want to talk about, let me hold on. Because I'm trying to get this cord to go in and something is blocking it. So let's see. YouTube wants to it's not really big enough to sit in there. That's the problem. Because of the sideways that the cord sits. Give y'all time to hopefully find me. I will reshare the video. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. So we're back. We're on. There is sound. Thank you very much. The live was muted. I didn't touch the screen. So the live had to be muted by YouTube. So the whole time, because I tried to go back to the beginning, it's okay. It is okay because I can just try and go back to where I think we started with this.
If outgrown kids' clothes are taking over your space, turn them into cash with vintage.
But I'm glad I caught that. And because they're I don't know, let's see. So we was probably, okay, we did all that. Okay, we did a 911 call. I'm just gonna start right there. Yeah. Because I think that's what we was doing when I started this video. Talking about the 911 call. So I'm gonna start the 911 call a little bit over.
Now when doors are locked and unlocked, opened.
I kind of want to start the video over. Huh? Said you was muted, buddy was lying when he said you could.
The party was then starting to wind
Oh, wow.
down. Some people headed home.
They trolls. They be trolling.
There were no arguments. Nothing bad had happened.
They be trolling.
By 1 a.m., Jean was telling the last few guests that she needed to crash because she had an early morning. Not long after that, there was just two remaining partygoers, Tamala and Bridget Fuller.
This Bridget chick, oh gosh, what to y'all? These people are
they
not
chatted
good people.
While Tamala ate some gumbo. When Bridget's husband arrived, Tamala walked her to the door, kissed Bridget's cheek, and said, "You're a really good person." And Bridget answered, and I quote, "Okay,
I need my
thank
water.
you very much. I appreciate that. Now take your ass in the house and finish eating your gumbo." That was at 1:47 a.m., according to the security system at the house that marks down when doors are locked and unlocked, opened or closed. And nobody ever reported seeing Tamala alive after that moment.
I do my nails. I lost a couple of nails.
The following morning, Jean's Aunt Madeline, who was living there at the time, was the first to get up, and so she went downstairs to make some coffee. That's when out in the yard, she spots Tamala's body lying motionless.
Hold on a minute, y'all. I'll show you visuals in a minute.
Rushes into Jean's room, where she and her boyfriend, Jose Barrera, are sleeping, and tells them what she's seen. Jean calls 911 at 8:59 a.m.
County 911. Hi, yes, I need an ambulance and a police to my home. What's the address? 4450 Woodland Court. 4450 Woodland?
Whole address on there. I wonder if they moved.
We had people over last night when we were drinking. Most of the time, too bad. One of them stayed on the balcony. She was drinking, and we just went outside, and she then stayed down in the backyard.
So she just stayed on the balcony, just getting more drunk.
Maybe she fell
Child,
off the balcony,
please.
but she's stiff.
And tells the dispatcher her friend is face down and not breathing before handing the phone over to Jose. And the way he talks in the 911 call, it appears like he had been out there checking on Tamala while Jean made the call.
Y'all hit the
Once
like
he
for me.
assessed and had more information, he grabs the line to help relay the details of the situation.
Hey, this is Jose Barrera.
Hey, have y'all checked to see if she's breathing?
She's not moving one bit. She's not breathing. I just tried to assess her, touch her completely face down in the yard.
How do you assess her when you only touched her leg,
But have you seen blood
allegedly?
or anything to where, from where she fell?
I don't know if I should move her over. I mean, she's completely face down.
So those two don't go together. So the 911, I think that, actually, no, there is a longer version of the 911 call. We'll get to that. But the 911 operator should have told him to fully check if she's breathing and then gave further instructions on how to proceed to work on her until paramedics got there. So he's saying he assessed her. Of course, he didn't assess her when he didn't even turn her over. He just admitted that he kind of touched her leg. That's not assessing nobody. Yes, I am. When you are trying to see if they breathing or not, if they living. This is a whole life we talking about here. Come on, y'all. So, not only that, the sheriff gets there and then the sheriff say, don't send the doggone 911 people. Huh? Where they do that at? And they just said, oh, okay. She's deceased. Don't they gotta come pick her up anyway? Well, the coroners can do that, but 911 is supposed to still come and they're supposed to try and work on her because there's no way none of y'all can say that this woman is deceased. It's not allowed by law. Now, it's not my situation, right? So judgment can come, but when you're not in it, it's you got to be kind of careful, which I try to be. However, the husband and the family, I think, and they've done a lot, but this is lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. These people didn't even try to save her. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Just for turning the ambulance away, the officer on scene should have been done with.
Background speculating that Tamala might have been pushed, referring to off the balcony, which was directly above her body. And cops then arrive at 9:07. What happens next is exactly what not to do when handling a potential crime scene.
Okay.
No yellow tape goes up. Nobody properly documents or collects evidence. And no one even tries CPR or any life-saving measures. The responding officers actually call off the ambulance altogether. The only person who touched Tamala's body before police arrived was Jose. Reports conflict on whether he touched or lifted her leg to check for signs of life or blood. And this matters because Jose wasn't just some random guy. He worked as a pre-trial officer for the Fort Sac County Courts, which comes into play later. From day one, investigators seemed pretty content with ruling this as an accident. They looked up, saw the balcony above, and had been told she'd been going out there all night for smoke breaks, so looks like she must have fallen. In fact, before that, they even thought she'd just fallen over while walking across the yard and saw that as a realistic explanation.
No.
Which it certainly doesn't appear to be based on how severe her injuries were once examined in detail.
I mean, she's
this thought process
deceased.
of it being an accident cost them tons of evidence, if there was any. Or one could argue it was...
To be honest, I can't remember how much later it was before she was found, right? But from the time the last door opened, never shut, was found, which was supposed to be around 1:40 in the morning, and then the garage around that time too, give or take a few, to the time that they allegedly got up. I can't remember what time exactly, but we know that it's morning, right? So it had to be at least a few hours later. Child, whatever took place, Tamala could still have been alive, because there's a reason why the sheriff is going to say don't send an ambulance, and they should have sent him anyway. And if he's going to say, now the people who calling off the ambulance and okayed that, like, because who did he tell that to? Stop the ambulance, don't let it come. And who actually did that without saying, why would you stop an ambulance? You got a woman there. Who is there that declared her deceased? Y'all can't do it. No, we got to send an ambulance, right? That's how that's supposed to go. So these are people who are responsible for not sending that ambulance, for canceling that ambulance. Now, why would they cancel the ambulance? Maybe because she wasn't deceased yet. I mean, that's the conclusion that I come to. Because if you just want to do your job, you're going to have the ambulance, the paramedics get there, and they're going to decide how they're going to try to save her while getting her to the hospital. To shut that down only tells me she had to die. You know, as far as y'all were concerned, that's what was supposed to happen. And y'all wanted to make sure that that was done before anybody, else came into the picture. That is the only conclusion that makes any kind of sense to me.
A good move if anyone were looking to cover something up.
Couldn't have been mine, baby. Because all of them and they family, okay? All of them and they family.
So at the moment, there's two possible scenarios that went down that night. One is Tamala went up to the balcony and fell to her death. The other is that she was murdered, either pushed or had her death made to appear like it had been an accident. And if that's the case, then
Pushed,
just
even being pushed, it's not consistent with her injuries. And then you gotta say what is listed as the official cause. That I don't remember either, so we have to go over that. But I think it was violent. I believe Tamala was trying to defend herself against whatever was going on. And I have no idea why. Which to me, it's not that big of a deal, like as far as motive, because her being a new black woman in town, to me, that gave more than enough motive. Because if you're trying to be, I'm not gonna sit up here and say she was just trying to be liked by them, like she got a low self-esteem or something like that. I think she was trying to mix in her new town. Boys is playing sports together, the moms hang out. Just because you the only chocolate lady, that doesn't mean you're supposed to isolate yourself. You're going to want to be a part of your community. And I think she was just trying to get in and get acclimated. And of course, in a town like that, people are going to have a lot of stuff going on that they know about and not others. And they set it up to where they can do the things they want to do and get away with it because only they know. And who gonna check me, boo? And we keep this stuff on the hush. Now, she's from the outside. She could ruin a lot of things that they got going on. And it could be also that she even saw or heard some things and caught herself trying to say something about it, speak up about it. And it could seem a little minor to her. It could be that her son, because that was a theory too. Okay. That was a very plausible theory. Could be that her children could have seemed to be too much of a competition, too much of real, actual freaking talent. Brown boys, okay, versus they little whack ass boys, So that could have been a potential reason, to want to get rid of her. Because how much thriving and successful would they be while they trying to recoup over, damn, this happened to my mom. 9 times out of 10, they gonna eventually move. So either way, seeing her, most of the time you can be hated just because of who you are, how your light shines. And that very well could have been the case. But it's speculated that it didn't have anything to do with just her. That it was also about the boys coming in, and playing all these sports with their children who probably weren't hitting on much but feared that competition. I just don't think, I think that whether they assessed or not, if she was still living, they probably thought maybe she could still be because we're not sure. Or she could be on the verge of actually passing, but if the ambulance get here, they might be able to save her enough for her to, be alive. And being alive means she could potentially tell what happened. So they wanted to make sure she didn't make it. It don't make any sense that that officer on the scene actually got away with and was able to keep his career and his job, and for that whole thing to not definitely and officially been investigated once that dude called off the ambulance, along with all the other factors. The 911 operator didn't insist that they try to save her. All of these things, the way she's found and all that stuff. The lack of them even making an attempt, a true, honest attempt, except for saying things that don't make any logical sense and changing the story too many times. There's no way that, these people shouldn't have been gotten rid of, and this shit should have been investigated before. I'm not sure why it took that long for the GBI to get involved. Now, the husband in the family, because, her father was very much involved in vocal, probably didn't know that, hey, call the GBI, looking for an outside agency, start with the GBI, because that's going to be the procedure anyway, to get these folk investigated, because this can't be. Maybe they did not know to do that, but I would have at least found out what all can I do. And on top of that, I would have been getting some kind of, one of these crump people who be showing up, to get down there and make some noise and try to get things cracking, because you're not finna sit up here and tell me this is something that just happened to have happened because she was drunk, and we gonna just rock out with that and we gonna leave it at that. Now, baby, that's not how this is gonna go. And all y'all looking suspect to me. So I just, it's definitely a little bit more risque and shaky when you're involved and you're in that town. But I don't care about none of that. It wouldn't have been nothing but me no longer breathing that could have stopped me from getting at this here.
The record, it doesn't mean it was necessarily someone at the party who did it. It could have been, certainly, but it also could have been someone in the town who just saw an opportunity. And we'll talk more about that.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
And there's a decent amount of strange things going on here overall when you look closer. So here are the facts as we know them, and then you can come to your own conclusion.
Sparkle Terrace Square. More choices, more value.
Because nobody is just going to go up to somebody's house and take out a black woman just because she black and she there. But that's somebody else's house, and it's a lot of things going on. What if somebody see you doing it? If that's the case, if that's a high probability, then that town is worse than we think.
For starters, and I found this to be particularly interesting, the position in which she was found in looked strange to several people, including Jean and Jose, who claimed both her hands were at her sides with palms up, like she face planted and didn't brace herself at all. That means if she did fall, then it likely wasn't a stumble, but more that she completely passed out. Either that or her body was placed there, again, to make it appear like an accident. That's what witnesses say, though the actual...
Now look at this close-up of this hand. Now this is the hand, would be her left, and it's like you laying on your shoulder, and your hand is up. You know how they will put your arms behind your back, get ready to cuff you, like that. But it's also out to the side, so it's kind of like almost L shaped. and the hand is up. That seemed like somebody was handling you. And your other one is down like this with a fist, like you. It was something go. That's indicative to me of an altercation, like a, you know.
Well, crime scene photos show her left arm out to the side, bent, palm down, fingers curled under. No one has claimed to have moved her before the photos were taken, so already there's a discrepancy. Jose said he only touched her to check if she was alive, and the police claim they didn't move her either, though it appears somebody certainly did. And then here's where things get really murky. The initial autopsy ordered by the sheriff's office said there was quote-unquote multiple blunt force injuries. So what does that mean? It means 4 types of hemorrhages in her head and brain, a laceration to the right ventricle of her heart. On top of that, she had a broken neck and a dislocated wrist, injuries and bruising to her torso, and cuts on her face and her lower legs. Now that balcony in question is only 15 feet high, so many people just find that all to be a bit extreme for that short of a fall.
Think about it. 4 different blows to the head. Okay, that's a lot. Let's say if you remember the picture of her laying there, it was just in front of the little border on the ground where the flower bed was. So from the balcony, it would be pretty much just right below the balcony. So where did you hit your head 4 times at if you fell from the balcony? So I think that's why somebody tried to say she tumbled down the stairs. That didn't work. Okay, so the one they wanted to stick with was the balcony, right? Yes, rest in peace to her. It's terrible. The laceration to the heart specifically, coincidence? I don't think so, because if you're trying to get somebody out of here, because clearly they wasn't. I mean, the way her arm is like this, somebody was handling her for her arm to be like that, and you left it like that, which wasn't brilliant. Because in what world was if you struggling for your last breath, is your hand gonna be wrist up, fractured, and shoulder down, but arm out, facing up? That's somebody got by your wrist, your arm, and your hand. There's no reason for you to put yourself in that position when you're trying to fight for your life. Let's say you fell on the ground. They think she fell face down. How would that get you up again?
Del Shaker then performed an independent autopsy for the family and spotted something bigger. What officials called a dislocated wrist was actually a compound fracture with her bone sticking through the skin. And despite this, almost no blood was there at the scene. And if her wrist broke that badly while she was alive, then where's all the blood?
Okay. 4 blows to the head. Was one of the blows blocked with the wrist? With whatever they was using? Because that fracture is a big deal. The bone sticking out, that's a big deal. If you block it,
The tiny bits of blood on her sleeve wasn't even on the same side as her injury. Her dad believed the wrist was damaged after death, setting up a scene.
We don't know if there was, wait, no, they said it was bleeding. Or there was I don't know, I gotta wait and hear it again. So I'm not gonna say that. But we don't know if anybody there had any marks or bruises because they didn't investigate. I think they didn't investigate because they know somebody did this to her. So we don't know if anybody there had any visible marks or bruises. Something about the chick that left last and that boyfriend is just extremely suspect to me. But they didn't even collect her fingernails and nails. Now, if you've been in an altercation with somebody trying to fight for your life, you're going to have their DNA in your nails. I don't care how short your nails are. Because fighting for your life don't look nothing like anything you've seen. Unless you've seen somebody literally fight for their life. It's the wildest, craziest, wildest, most... You might as well go watch wildlife videos. Because you fight for your life. You gonna have DNA there. So the sheriffs them knew that too. There would be some DNA. And there would be some bruises. Declaring this an accident that she did gives it plenty of time for this to be all healed up on whomever else. And never to be collected. This is some messed up stuff.
Where Tamala's already deceased body was thrown off the balcony. And Dr. Shaker agreed, labeling it as a post-mortem injury.
That's the doctor that did the family autopsy. So he's saying he agrees that that was post-mortem. Now, that's a medical determination. So we have to say that's official. Because you are not... There's factors that play into that. You can tell if an injury happened before or after that person is deceased. Because, you know, mainly blood flow. Your blood does not flow through your body anymore. The bruising tells that also because of blood flow. So, if he says that, then this happened after the injury. It doesn't, to me, necessarily mean they threw her off the balcony, which I guess, but for me, that one just doesn't work. I could see them taking her to that location in a very uncomfortable way like that. Because how did her damn shit get like this? If you fall any kind of way and you're conscious when you're falling, you're not gonna land with your shoulder down and your hand backwards like that. You're gonna try and brace your fall somehow. So I think they was handling her to move her there, and that's probably how that happened. Now here's the house again.
The investigation had more and more holes. No fingerprints collected, no fingernail clippings from Tamala to test for DNA underneath them. A security camera pointed at the yard had no batteries. And while medical examiners typically take dozens of autopsy photos, they only took 5 of Tamala. Even the theory of what happened kept changing. First, lead investigator Mike Christian thought she tripped over some landscaping at ground level based on the cuts on her shins. That's what he told her family when breaking the news.
It's not even tall enough to reach the shin. And then when you look at these folks standing on the balcony here, it's waist high. Okay, that's pretty normal, decent. Unless she was drugged, how could you fall off this balcony? Drunk is not gonna do it for me.
The medical examiner said her injuries were too severe for a ground level fall. Well, they switched to the balcony theory. And the timeline of everything, according to the security alerts, was strange too, and at the very least warranted a serious look. Door alerts in the home security system showed the door to the porch being opened at 1:57 a.m. and staying open until they found her body. That makes sense if she stepped out to have a smoke and then fell. But another alert showed the garage door opened 17 minutes earlier at 1:40 a.m.
Front of the house.
Also never closing, though nobody ever tried explaining this. And Bridget was the last person sense if she stepped out to have a smoke and then fell. But another alert showed the garage door opened 17 minutes earlier at 1:40 a.m. Also never closing, though nobody...
Mind you, the alarm can still clock what's open and closed without actually being set to go off. If you got company, everybody don't know your code, maybe that part of the alarm was turned off, but that's pretty convenient as well. Company, and no, I've never turned off my alarm for company. That doesn't make it any sense just because you hear. If you're hosting a party and people are sleeping over, you wouldn't disable your alarms. But if she smokes and she's going to be going outside to smoke, I don't know. Where we come from, this is the last call for the doors to be open. And that alarm is going on. That's what I'm accustomed to. That's how we've ever gotten down. And then the other one allegedly didn't have no batteries. First of all, you got a little change. Why are we running off batteries? Okay, but whatever. I think they were deliberately.
Bridget, who was the last person to see Tamala alive before saying goodbye that night, said they left from the front door. And that security alert happened at 1:47 a.m. So if Tamala and Bridget were the last ones awake in the kitchen eating gumbo, well, who opened that garage door and why? And that's where it's possible that someone from outside the party came in and did some damage.
An autopsy uncovered a blood alcohol level of...
That's another reason why not to turn off your doggone alarms. You got random people at the house, everybody drinking and stuff. No, I need to know because I might be too sound asleep. I need to know what's going on. My alarm go off. Y'all knew the alarm was going to go off. So we got a problem here. Who going in and out? What's going on? What if you call somebody over? I don't know you like that. You call somebody over, y'all try to rob us or something. No, we're going to keep those alarms on. I think they turn alarms off. But she forgot to disarm the sensors that will say, hey, this door open this time. It was that other case where the boy went to prison for doing his mom and daddy. And his little sister was in the house. I forgot his name. Where he tried to claim he didn't do it. I absolutely believe he did it. But they had alarm sensors that was going off too that helped with, determining what was going on with the case. So this is the toxology report. This is the one from the family. Under the provisions of the Georgia Death Investigation Act, a complete autopsy was performed on the body of Tamala Horsford in the morgue of Georgia Bureau of Investigations, GBI, Division of Forensic Sciences